Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I'm going to show you how to create guitar melodies in FL Studio with no MIDI controller. So even if you don't have a MIDI controller to actually play it by hand, I'll show you guys how to do it. Let's hop into FL Studio. Okay, so firstly what we're going to do is load up the channel rack right here. Click this icon, click the plus icon, and then we're going to load up something called Flex. So let's find the plugin called Flex. From here, we're going to go to the free tab and download any of the essential libraries that it says. So there's essential guitars, pianos, woodwinds. Let's go to packs and let's go to essential guitars. Firstly, I like to take off the effects, delay, filter, reverb, and limiter. I don't like those added to it. So it's a cleaner tone. It still has delay in the sample, but we can't control that. Okay, so let's right click, go to piano roll, and let's start mapping out some notes. So firstly, I want to start here, and you guys will get the project files for free if you go to busyworksbeats.com. Right at the top of the website, it says free downloads. You'll find these project files in the melody series folder. Okay, so let's go to DFA. C. Okay, so let's play this first chord. So this is pretty neutral way to play it. Let's hit Alt S. Let's create a strum. So now, okay, so now it gives it a little more life, a little more human touch. Now you don't have to do that per every chord, but we're gonna do that for the chords that we're gonna play today. So let's do, and let's do E. Let's hit Shift. Just grab this up. Now the next chord, we're gonna hit Shift up, pull it up to F, and we have to convert this. So let's take the middle note and the top note, hit Shift up. Let's go back to the plugin and mess with some of the mic positioning here. Okay, so melody comes down to 4 layers. You have a harmony layer, a top line layer, a contrast layer, and a rhythm layer. So we have to determine what have we just done to the musical composition. We've created what's called harmony. So that's the harmony layer. It doesn't really have much rhythm. It's just straightforward. Let's add another layer. Now this next layer will be our rhythm layer. Okay, so we can combine different layers. So the top line can be also the rhythm layer and vice versa. The only difference is the top line cannot be the contrast layer. Okay. So let's go to one of these other ones. Let's take off these effects. And now I'm going to show you guys a really quick way to come up with melodies without thinking too much. So firstly, just look at the first chord type. In this case, we have a minor 7th chord. We're going to right click on this typing keyboard. Make sure that it's whatever chord type is in the beginning, we're going to go to that pentatonic. So in this case, a minor pentatonic. If your first chord's a major, try the major pentatonic. Let's go to the minor pentatonic. And then the root note is D, okay? That's the first bottom note that we're playing. So minor pentatonic, then we need to right click and select D. So now I can freestyle, there's no rules or regulations for it. Okay, now usually we play a top line 1 octave higher than the chord so that we can distinguish the notes. So there's no set starting point, it's just usually 1 octave higher. Okay, so let's record this. Okay, so pretty simple. So again, I'm using pentatonic to simplify melody because a pentatonic is a 5-note scale. So you only have 5 notes to choose from when it comes to melody, and it just makes it a lot easier to come up with melodies when you have less notes, okay? So my FL glitches from time to time. As you just saw, the notes disappear. Okay, so that's pretty basic. I'll show you guys how to modernize this. I understand I have to teach beginners, intermediates, and advanced. So, I'm teaching everybody at different stages here. So now that we have the top line and we have the harmony layer, let's add the contrast layer. So this is where a different instrument will come into play. And it's the same technical instrument, but in this case, we're going to use what's called the minor natural scale, and D will be our root note in this case. And I like to write bass or contrast stuff at a lower octave. So let's do octave 3 in this case. Let's record this. Okay. Now we have that recorded. So again, I'm using my typing keyboard. We don't even need a MIDI controller. So one thing I will do is turn on the metronome, and let's quantize the top line because I was playing without a metronome. Let's hit Control Q. Same thing, let's switch this to our other guitar. Let's hit Control Q to quantize. Now we're at 140 BPM. So here's the problem that a lot of people have with beat block. They'll write just this small segment and wonder why their beat sounds repetitive. It's because when you're at double time, you're having all of your musical ideas. So you might think that you just created 4 bars, but in reality, that is only a 2-bar melody. Okay, so to make it feel longer, we have to extend it. So let's take these same chords, hit Shift, and just drag it over. Let's do something different with the chords. Let's spice it up by just changing out what's called the voicing. So I'll take what's called the 5th, 3rd note of this chord, and just hit Control down. So it has a different voicing. So it's the same exact chords with different voicing. We can copy this same melody over. Let's hit Shift, drag it over. Okay, so that's how you extend your idea. You can copy the same chords, revoice the chords if you want it to feel different, or even use a chord change. I'm trying not to go too advanced, but let's say you have a minor chord, try a major chord so that it's a subtle difference. Like I'll show you guys a technique even beyond that. You can copy if you end on what's called a minor 7th chord, you can copy it over. This is more intermediate advanced that I'm teaching right now. And what you could do is take the tonic and the 5th and pull them down one. If it's a minor 7th, if it's a major 7th, you would do the opposite. So here's what it sounds like. And now you have a really cool ending that goes out of key on purpose. And now you can feel the life come out of your music. Now my ear wants to hear ding. That's what my ear wants to hear, not the pentatonic. And now we have that Tyler, the Creator type of feel at the end. So most people, again, they get stuck because we tend to forget that at 140 BPM, we're really in double time. So everything that we do is divided by 2. So you may think you're creating a 4-bar loop, but in reality it's 2 bars. And like in real life, what 2-bar melody do you know? Outside of like Pierre Bourne type stuff. Okay, so that's why your stuff sounds stuck in like a loop. So we have the contrast layer, we have the top line, and we have the harmony. Now we just need a rhythm. So that rhythm does not need to be melodic. It can also be atonal. Okay, so what we can do is add your drums at this point. Because we changed the note at the end, we need to go to the contrast layer and make sure that it also has that tense feel at the end. Now my ear wants to hear the half step because the chord changed. Now there's a unique thing you could do in FL Studio. This is only for image line plugins. This does not work for third-party plugins. Okay, but what you can do, if you have multiple notes that you want to slide, just add a slide note, just double click, add a slide note. But if you have multiple notes and you only want to slide one note at a time, I'll show you guys the technique. Let's go all the way back. So I'm going to slide a couple notes here. And if you don't know where to slide it to, try the perfect 5th. It's 5 notes down or 7 notes up. So that's how you get to the slides. So that's going to add a little motion to your contrast layer. Now again, let's say you go to the harmony layer and you have the top line in harmony and you try to add a pitch slide, it will pitch bend all of the notes to that note. And it sounds fake. So I only want to pitch bend the top note of a chord. So in this case, we're going to grab that chord, double click on it, and change the color. This is changing what's called the MIDI channel. You don't need to memorize that. Just change the color. And now let's add a matching note Double click, make it the same exact color, and then make it a slide note. So now that note will slide to the other note of the same color. It's a little hard to hear when you have so many notes going. So I'll exaggerate with the volume here. So it goes. So we can do this with all the top notes, just adding a really cool. Now it's such a subtle technique that it's not really audible. Okay, so that's how you add very subtle pitch bends in the actual chord. I learned that from Synthit, so shout out to him. You could also go down. It doesn't have to be a pitch bend up. But keep in mind, I don't want to train you guys on those different notes because sometimes if you're using third-party plugins and you change the color of a note, it changes what's called a MIDI channel, and that does a completely different thing with third-party plugins. Let's turn these velocities down here. Hit Control-Shift to highlight, hit Alt, left-click to reset. So let's say you have everything, but it just feels too like computerized. Let's go to where it says Tools, and we're going to go to the Humanize script. If you guys don't have this, look in the Image Line forums. If you're in FL Studio 21.2 and above. This will just fix the velocity so they feel more real and the timing of the notes. We have a lot of notes in the same kind of range, so I'm going to pull this bass down an octave. So it's not fighting to be the sound of a specific frequency range. I'm going to take out this pitch bend. I just wanted to show you guys that. Like the chords are a little too heavy, so let's hit Alt X. Pull down the velocity a little bit. So I removed the top line because it was confusing the contrast layer there. Now we can group all these sounds in the mixer and just add effects to make everything feel cohesive. Okay, so you could also try different voicing for the chord, so it's not just this kind of bland voicing. I use the simple voicing just to not complicate it, but what we could do is revoice the chord now. Let's pull up our thirds. And that becomes a melody unto itself. Okay, so we could... Let's just flatten that. Let's pull those fifths down. So again, if we swap out the sounds, you're gonna get a higher quality sound depending on the instrument. These sounds are, these aren't my go-to sounds, but I'm trying to give you guys stock sound. Let's switch out the actual tones. Let's go to Essential Bass Guitar. Let's try one of these. I don't know these by heart, so I might pick the wrong bass here. Let's do upright. And now here's where sound selection comes into place. We have the music there, but now we need the sounds to fit. So my ear needs like a dun type of sound. So let's add another flex, and then we'll wrap it here because we're getting a little too in the weeds. Let's go to the synth wave, and we just need a high pitched sound. This sounds a little bitey, but I'm just going to record it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could replace it with a string. Now that note, I forgot we're locked to a scale, so that didn't play the note I wanted to play. Wanted to go down a half step. So let's go pull this down 1/2 step, which is what we did with the chord. So as you see, melody follows the chord direction. Let's try the essential strings. Let's try a slow string. We can pull this up 2 octaves, control up. Now that sample doesn't go that high, so we see how high it goes. And my ear went to here. So now I'm just adding color tones. What we can do to clear up some clutter is take out the bottom note, just remove it. It's fighting with that bass octave. So now we're getting that bounce in the beat, and now we're adding rhythm to the chords here. Now it's starting to have a vibe to it. So again, having everything strum is just like a little repetitive. So that's why I didn't want to introduce you guys to hard rules. You can also do what's called picking. So we can grab the slice tool and go between the notes. So you could strum the chord, but then pick the notes by just slicing it. And just turning the velocity up or down. So now we have more of a bouncy rhythm, almost like you're drawing in drums. It's almost like you can tell where the snare goes. And that's why music dictates everything else, in my opinion. You can create a groove in the music. You can create an expected tone in the music. You can do all this without drums. That's why when we get samples, we know how to add the drums to it. And we can spend more time on this, but again, I don't want to like eat up a lot of time here. So my last thing is let's consolidate this from track start. And we're going to cut remainder and no effects. Now I can do a bunch of stuff. There's too many things to name, but let's just double click, go to mode, stretch mode, and then switch it back to resample. I like to tell people to mess with the tempo at this point. Now you get that like sped up Pink Panthers type sound. Xavier So Bass. You can't get the sound in the plugin itself. And you're hearing the sample in a different key. That's how I would finish the track. So that's how you guys do it. You can go to busyworksbeats.com to get these project files for free. Look at the top of the website where it says free downloads. Just log in and you'll have access.